Mainland with Jack Ma displacing a mainland property tycoon at the top of China's rich list thanks to Alibaba's recently massive IPO in New York. What does it take now to become a successful entrepreneur on the Chinese mainland? Kathy Young reports.
When Alibaba's massive IPO was listed in New York, it made Jack Ma the richest man on the mainland. The 38% rise in Alibaba stock on its first day saw Ma's fortune soar 5 times to $25 billion US, displacing from the top spot property tycoon Wang Jianlin, chairman of Dalian Wanda Group, reports Hurun's China Rich List. Ma isn't the only tech-savvy self-made billionaire in the top 10. He is flanked by Pony Ma Huateng of Tencent, Baidu chairman and CEO Robin Li, Richard Liu Qiandong of JD.com, and Lei Jun of Xiaomi Technology. Analysts say those in China's rich list now reveal a trend away from people who were positioned in terms of who they knew and in gaining early access to industries that were going to do well as the mainland economy developed. That's why the entrepreneurial spirit on the mainland does not appear to be losing steam, even as a corruption crackdown continues. Benjamin Cavender is an analyst at China Market Research Group.
But if you look at what's going on right now, it's really people who have the strong personality, who have maybe different perspectives that they can lend to their businesses. So somebody who's willing to adapt and take elements of maybe what's worked in China in the past, but also best practices, say, in the U.S. and Europe, and kind of merging those things together.
Love Hong Kong. 3 of the top 6 also speak fluent English, including Ma, underscoring the globalization of the Chinese private sector, says the Hurun report. Billy Mack is associate professor at Hong Kong Baptist University.
When you look back the history of the U.S. Internet development, and then you find that maybe 10 years or 20 years ago, there are many new startups of Internet company. But how many of them eventually can be succeeded? Maybe after a decade, very few. And then the case is the winner takes it all.
Jack Ma may be a tough act to follow, but the tech-savvy on the mainland look to be in the best position to follow his lead. Kathy Yang, CCTV, Hong Kong.
The middle section of China's south to north water diversion scheme is expected to start operation in late October. When it does, billions of cubic meters of water will be flowing more than 1,400 kilometers from central China to Beijing. The project is designed to provide water to the country's drought-hit areas in the north. In the final episode of our special series, Quenching a Mighty Thirst, our senior reporter Han Bin looks at how much the diversion could ease the capital's water shortage and what the government's doing to improve conservation.
Another water run for Shang Renbao. Every day she travels far to bring back the precious supply. Her family has been suffering from an on and off water shortage for years. So she has to store what she can. She also bought a pump, but it's only a partial solution.
Without enough drinking water, I take my grocery cart to bring back 3 oil cans and several mineral water bottles of tap water for the family's cooking and drinking use.
Sean lives in the Shrimo community west of Beijing. It has grown rapidly over the past years. The local authorities have been unable to meet the growing water demands or to solve the supply problems. Many residents have resorted to digging their own wells. The problem here at the Shrimo community is an extreme case of the water shortage in Beijing. Water supplies in the capital have been increasingly strained with an exploding population growth, a decline of the rainfall, and industrial expansion. The government's solution is to buy water from the south. That water will soon arrive in the capital, costing the government at least 60 billion US dollars. The diversion water will be expensive, But as Beijing becomes more desperate, the cost isn't the biggest problem. This is Beijing's largest drinking water treatment facility. Its daily capacity is more than 1.7 million cubic meters. Staff say the demand has increased year by year, but the treatment capacity has reached its maximum.
The diversion water will be mixed with Beijing's water. They will undergo the same treatment before being put into use. The final ratio will be decided by the actual amount flowing to the city.
Many say the root of the problem is not simply insufficient water. Beijing needs to rethink its development speed and scale. And water in China is much cheaper than its real cost.
Raising the price of water can not only reimburse some of the cost, but more importantly, it helps to encourage water conservation in society. But fresh water is a basic living commodity that cannot be too expensive for residents' daily use. The diversion water is to improve living standards rather than reduce them.
The hard choice for the government is to decide who will get the water first. Shang Renbao sees some hope for the future. She continues to save and transport water, something the city is also doing. Shang Renbao says she's willing to pay more for a reliable supply. But she also says the city can't go on the way it has. The diversion project won't wash away the underlying problems. Han Bin, CCTV,